Welcome to Make School Safer podcast, episode number 1, with me, Cody Santiago, School Safety Pro. Good morning. How are we today? Principal Dawn asked as she scanned their faces before sitting down at the head. Looks like everyone is here and ready to go. She dropped her notepad down on the table in front of her and gripped her pen with her right hand. Let's begin. Sometime before 9:30 a.m., Adam Lanza pulled out of his driveway at 36 Yoganada Street for the last time. Though unconfirmed at the time of this writing, there's reason to suggest that Adam's initial target was Newtown High School, less than 4 miles away on Berkshire Road. According to a source familiar with the investigation, Adam Lanza's car was believed to have been identified on the school surveillance footage circling the school parking lot. The official believed Adam spotted 2 police cars, which were parked in the lot, and decided to move on. The official had not seen the actual footage. Several minutes later, he pulled onto Riverside Road, a right at the Sandy Hook Volunteer Firehouse on Dickinson Drive, and headed towards the elementary school. He drove past the sign that read, Sandy Hook Elementary, welcome visitors, and made a slight loop around Sandy Hook parking lot. He pulled to a stop against the vertical yellow lines of the school's fire lane, and it was 9:34 a.m. He was 40 feet from the building's main entrance. The parking lot was crowded with cars, but no one was coming in or out of the school. No one was milling about. And he knew for years as a student at Sandy Hook Elementary that the morning announcements had just ended and teachers would now be settling their students into the day's routine. He parked the car with the passenger side facing the brick wall near the main entrance and left his shotgun leaning against the passenger side door along with 70 shotgun rounds. He would later choose to engage with law enforcement in either an ambush or subsequent firefight, and he would be well positioned. He climbed out of the driver's seat. Adam left the car doors open and walked at a deliberate pace towards the school's large double doors. The rifle was in his hands. 10 magazines, carrying 30 rounds each, were in the pockets of his olive green utility vest. 2 pistols, the Glock and the Sauer, were in his military-style cargo pants. Adam was intensely familiar with his surroundings. His memory bordered on photographic, and he remembered vividly everything from his days at Sandy Hook. He'd kept his old report cards and yearbooks. He still had a t-shirt signed by his 5th grade classmates. And even though it had been several years since it last fit him, on occasion he had even talked to his mom about former teachers and classmates. Adam hesitated briefly at the entrance. Then he stepped back. He pointed the rifle at the large plate glass window to the right of the door and pulled the trigger 8 times. In less than a second, 6 .223 caliber bullets shattered the glass, creating a large hole enough for him to walk through. Pop, 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 pop! The explosion of the glass and gunshots echoed through the hallways and classrooms of Sandy Hook Elementary, destroying the peace and tranquility of the place forever. Barbara Halstead, the secretary, was a few feet away in the main office when she heard the violent popping and the sound of crashing glass. "What's that?" Nurse Sally Cox called from the adjacent infirmary, accessible via a connecting door. "I don't know," Barbara answered, standing up halfway from her chair. As the secretary turned her head to investigate, she caught a glimpse of a lanky, gaunt figure dressed in black. "Sally!" Barbara called out in a blood-curdling voice as she ducked down underneath her desk. Broken glass everywhere, the man was holding a rifle and walking in through the large hole to the right of the door where a glass pane had been. He was coming her way. Sally crouched down low to the floor, underneath her desk, the alarm in her friend's voice serving as more than enough warning. Seconds later, the gunman walked into the main office and paused, standing quietly only a few feet from where Barbara was hiding. She stayed completely still, barely allowing herself to breathe. He didn't see her. He didn't see her. The gunman turned and walked into the nurse's office. He stood 20 feet from where Sally was hiding underneath her desk. Through the gaps between the furniture and a small hole, she could see a pair of legs from the knees down wearing dark clothing and boots. He was facing her direction. The nurse froze in her fear. I'm going to die, she thought. As she held her breath, I'm going to die right here, right now. And as we all know from this historic Sandy Hook tragedy, this would be one of the deadliest days of domestic terrorism history, let alone one of the deadliest shootings in United States history. I wanted to lead with that because lots of people ask me, why do you study so much in school safety and try to help so much in school safety? I get that question a lot. And it's memories like these that are recalled, that I can read and watch and know that I'm doing what I'm doing for the right reasons. That I want to make sure that this never happens to a school again. That's my ultimate goal. And, there's a lot of mockery in United States culture anyway about school shooters, and, we can typically be joked about around the world and trolled on social media, but it's not funny. Sandy Hook, like many of the other school attacks, the violent school attacks around the United States, shouldn't be happening. They shouldn't have happened. Innocent lives are stolen. Young, innocent, beautiful lives that never even got the chance to start living their life. That's how I know that I'm doing what I'm doing for the right reasons. And I'm really happy to be talking about this more, because it's something that I struggle with a lot, is talking about why I do this. And people need to know, because I hope that they'll join what I call the safe school community. The path to getting to the point where we don't have to deal with this anymore. That's my goal. And I hope you'll join me, because I'm going to share not just stories like this. I don't want to do this every time. But these kinds of things really put things in perspective of why we harp so much on school safety and what we can do. And I want people to understand that school safety is bigger than active shooters, and we're going to talk a lot more than just about lockdowns and active shooters. But in America, when we think of school safety, most people think of active shooters, violent attacks on schools. And so I wanted to start with that. But I want to talk about a lot more than that, because I want to talk a lot more than what has happened. I want to talk about solutions and how we get there. And I'm excited for that part, because we really can get to a point where this doesn't happen anymore. When we create that uniformity of everybody understanding what their role is in school safety, from teachers to paraprofessionals to principals to superintendents and school leaders. So I just hope that you all will join me. I'm really happy to announce that this is episode 1 of the Make School Safer podcast. And I look forward to making more content and having many discussions with many, many experienced and intelligent people. And I hope you'll join. This has been episode 1 of Make School Safer podcast. Out.